with that, I'm gonna turn this over to Gary Herberger, who's been a friend and partner of Woodbine for 20 years and graciously lent us the Kierland name.
Thank you, Buzz. Well, welcome to 10 years. It certainly doesn't seem that it's been 10 years here at Kierland Commons, but it has been a lot longer than that for the land. And since Bill and Buzz have done such a good job talking about Kierland Commons, I'll give you a little history because we were here a long time before Kierland Commons was even envisioned. A lot of people ask about the name Kierland. What does it mean? What is it? So on and so forth. It's actually my mother's maiden name. And during the planning process, in the late 80s, we started with the preliminary plans, the models, the other things, and all. We needed a name because we had to start submitting preliminary contract drawings to the cities for approval. And so we asked all the people, the planners and consultants and everybody to give us suggestions on names. So we had about 30 or 40 names in a hat, and everybody would go look at it, throw the ones out that they didn't like, and somebody, and I still don't know who it was, put in Kierland. I didn't, because I just never thought about it. And somebody put in Kierland, and at the end, when we finally had to make the decision, Kierland was the only name left in the hat because everybody else had said this isn't good for this reason or that isn't good for that reason. And that is to say my mother's maiden name. So somebody said, okay, if we're going to call it Kierland, maybe you better call your mother and find out, if she would object. And so I called her. She was home, and mentioned that, and she was just so delighted. She couldn't believe it because we had named streets all over Arizona in our developments for various names of engineers' names and their wives' names and everything else. But my mother never got a name. And all of a sudden we're going to name this huge 760-acre project Kierland. And she was so delighted. And one thing that really sort of teared me up at the time, she said, I wish my father was alive to know this. He was a country doctor in Minnesota. And she said he would have just been so happy to see his name on this project. So that's how Kierland came about. It turned out to be a good name because it's got land in it, so it's sort of a development kind of name. K is a nice design for logos and things. And so it's worked out very well. And as Bill or Buzz said, people are saying we're going to design a Kierland project. The interesting one I heard one time was we're going to do a Kierland-esque project. Now, you tell me what that is. I don't know. Anyway, that was in the paper. Okay, the land we're standing on right now was the last piece of land we bought in 1984 that is Kierland in total, not just Kierland Commons now I'm talking about. The first piece of land we bought that is Kierland, 760 acres from Scottsdale to 64th and Paradise Lane, almost down to Hearn, almost to Thunderbird. We accumulated that from 1952 as the first piece of land we bought. And most of these were 10, 20, 40, 160 acres. And we kept piecing them together. And then we bought others nearby, which we developed. And that's when Buzz said that in the late 80s, early 90s, they decided they wanted to expand in addition to Dallas in other areas of the country. So I guess they got an aerial photo and flew over and saw this big empty piece of land, and everything developed around it. By that time, it was a vacant land island inside of development because by then it had been developed all around. When we bought the first piece of land in 1952, you had to get here on a Jeep or a horse because there were no roads and nobody lived nearby here. The total population was about 100,000 people in Phoenix at that time. So it was hard to believe what would happen. And of course, when we started buying, we had no idea that this would happen. So that's sort of the history of how this land was accumulated, put together, and of course, not the last piece, but almost the last piece of the development is this Kierland Commons, which we are so pleased about how it turned out. The planning process, the construction, the management, and we thank all of you. Many of you are here, I see, were in this process, some near the very beginning and some halfway through, and we're also so delighted now to have Westcor with us. And we just think it couldn't have turned out better. And I can't tell you that in 1952 we ever imagined this. So thank you for coming, and thank you for supporting us here. Thank you.
I'm not going to ask how many people were not alive in 1952, so I don't want to embarrass anybody. But with that said, these things tend to go long, but we're going to keep ours short. But the most important thing is I truly appreciate our partners, Gary and Buzz. Without them, there would be no vision. What they saw in dirt in 1952 and then and again in the mid-'80s is beyond belief, and they brought it to fruition. But that's the bricks and mortar, that's the development. I also want to take just a moment to thank the tenants and merchants that have been with us since the beginning. There are many that have been here the entire 10-year cycle, and I'd like to just name those people. Many of them are represented in the crowd. P.F. Chang's Anthropology, Z Gallery, Sir Latab, Chico's, Tommy Bahama, the world headquarters of Troon Golf, Nelson Architects, and the Corridor Company. Please give them a round of applause for being part of this vision also. One of the things that has kept us very active in this community is the fact that we like to give back to the community. Besides developing shopping centers and office buildings and residential, all of our companies enjoy the opportunities to say thank you to the community, the consumers, for what they have done by voting with their almighty dollar, and they have voted well here at Kierland Commons. So with that said, we'd like to give a little bit back to the community through Mickey Papillon, our on-site property manager.
Thank you, Bill. So this morning is really just the kickoff of 4 days of events here that we're going to have. We've got some fashion events tomorrow, and we have a Prada in the Plaza on Saturday evening, and then world-renowned chef Bobby Flay coming in at 11 o'clock on Sunday. And one of the things we wanted to do with this weekend was also, as Bill said, give back. And we've got a great partner in the Board of Visitors, Ryan House, and the Care Card. If you're not familiar with the Care Card, they are selling them, and they can give you all the information that you're looking for back at the table back there. And the Ryan House is an 8-bedroom home on First Avenue and Merrill Street, and that's on the campus of St. Joseph's Hospital. And they allow for children who have chronic and serious health issues to come for some respite and some relief from their daily lives. And so for $50, you can purchase a care card that's good at over 700 locations around the valley, 3 dozen of which are here at Kierland Commons. And what we're starting today is, if you buy the card today, you have the 3 dozen stores here. You can start using it today. The actual week of events kicks off tomorrow at the 700 locations. Every single store is listed in this packet, and that goes through Sunday the 24th of October. So in fitting with, we want to give back a little bit. On behalf of Westcor and Kierland Commons, I'd like to bring up Deb Kane. Deb is with the Board of Visitors, Ryan House, and I'd like to present a check for $11,000. Thank you very much for being a partner with us.
I just want to, on behalf of the Board of Visitors and Ryan House, I just can't share with you how grateful we are to Westcor, Woodbine, and the Herberger family. This means so much to us, and now we can give back to Ryan House. So we thank you all for your support.
Okay, thank you very much. Hopefully you all have got your glasses in front of you. And of course, I'd like to propose a toast. Of course, toasting to Gary and the entire Herberger family for the opportunity that they provided with the best real estate in all of Arizona. To Buzz and to Woodbine for their vision and for facing a lot of adversity and competition in the marketplace and still putting together the best project that's out there. Of course, for Westcor, the entire team over there who has given us great leadership and support and really made this place continue on with the tradition of what Woodbine had in mind. To the retailers, the residents, the restaurants, all the employees here, the office tenants, you guys are the ones that come here day in and day out and are really the essence of what Kierland Commons is. And of course the community. Every one of you that's standing here today, you made Kierland what it is. So to a successful 10 years, and to the next 10 years. Cheers. So thank you everybody for coming out this morning. We've got a great waffle and fruit bar over there, as well as coffee and water. Enjoy your morning.